How to not be afraid to speak up for those that don't have a voice. That right there should quench any and all fear you have. Is that if you don't speak up, no one will. I first stopped eating animals and their byproducts because of my health. I've always had eczema, it was lifelong eczema. Then about 5 years ago, when I first heard about plant-based dieting, that's when my eczema really exploded all over my body. It was on my eyelids, my hands. The worse my hands got, like my skin is a caramel brown. The worse my skin got on my hands, it became puffy and pink, like just straight raw. It looks like a skinned pig, basically. So I got to see on my hands what is happening to the pigs. And I still didn't make the connection. And that's why we can't be scared. We can't be scared to speak up. When I first finally went plant-based and I was sticking with it, and I wasn't going back to eating meat and eating dairy and eggs, because I knew that once I made that switch, once I was finally able to break that addiction, I knew that veganism was my end goal. I just didn't understand at the time what veganism meant as a mindset. So when I was plant-based, 100% plant-based, and I wasn't ever planning on going back to meat, into animal products, I would go into my social circles, and of course I wanted to see other people go vegan. I thought it was like, it would be a positive change for their lives and for the lives of everyone in the entire world, and also the animals, even though the animals weren't as bright red of a flag as they are to me now. So when I would speak to people about veganism, I would use the term vegan, but I would try to approach it from a health standpoint. And then people would chime in like, oh yeah, I've tried Whole30 and blah 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 is vegetarian, and oh yeah, I've done keto and all that. And I feel disappointed. Like they just dismissed everything I said about veganism. And the main reason why I was sharing veganism was because even though I hadn't yet made the connection, I still saw it as a positive change to not eat animals, even though I hadn't yet realized the gravity of what is going on. I saw not eating animals as a commendable act, but when I went into the grocery store, I saw racks of chopped up animals' bodies. And it didn't hit me then the way that it hits me now. I didn't see dismembered beings. I knew it was animal flesh, but I didn't see it for what it was. An animal had been killed and cut up, and in some cases ground up and turned into mash, turned into ham, turned into grounds, turned into hot dogs and spam, and this nasty block of chicken and pig meat mix that has some weird vegetables in it. I didn't see that before. But now every time I go to the grocery store, it's like I'm in a circus. A circus of insanity. I was just talking to my mom. We were just having a discussion about whatever. And she was holding a bowl of chicken wings. Right now, as I speak, in the kitchen of the house where I live with my family, there is a tray of chicken legs and chicken wings smothered in sauce. how am I supposed to live in peace with my family when they do this? And I can't say anything to them. I can, but I'm going to be honest here. I don't have all the answers. I don't have all the answers. I'm conflicted because I want to be able to kick back with my family and hee ha 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 with my family and have a good time with my family and enjoy being around my family. But every time they eat, I got to look at that. Every time they eat, I'm reminded that my family, my own family, pays for someone else to suffer. Selectivity and being strategic in your activism is different from being silent. I am selective with how and when I do my activism and advocacy and speak up for animals, but I'm never silent. If a family member of mine ever tries to make an excuse for why it's okay to abuse animals and eat their bodies, I'm not going to let it slide. I'm going to check that. But then I have to understand and respect how humans work together as social creatures, and how as social creatures we can inspire change among each other. And I have to know who I'm speaking to when I'm speaking about animals. When it's on YouTube, my voice can be as free as I want it to be. I can say whatever I want. Stop freaking eating animals. Yeah, stop it. Stop using them as commodities. But in my day-to-day life, with people that I come across, I can't go to these people with a sign in their face all the time. If it's outreach with a random group of people, I'm just on the street and they don't know me, that's different. But when it's people who are close to me, I don't want them to be turned off from interacting with me, because then it's going to be just that much harder for them to hear me, if you understand what I'm saying. This is strategy now. This is not silence. I'm never silent. I'm always watching. And whenever I get the chance, I always speak up for the animals. And you have to think about it like that. If it were you in a slaughterhouse with lines of others before you being killed, and you were scared, if it were you being holed up your entire life, forcibly impregnated by a person, by someone else, not by your mate. You're not being impregnated by your mate that you allowed to impregnate you, okay? You're being forcibly impregnated by someone else who was only trying to get you to reproduce, so that you can produce milk for your child, which you're biologically built to do, to produce milk for that child just so they can take it and take your baby from you, separate you from your kid. Take the milk that your body made for your child and go sell it like it's a natural resource, because they need it to be healthy. They need it to survive. No, they don't. You got to think about all these things that these animals go through. And this is not just in dairy, fur, and meat, or dairy, eggs, and meat. This is also in fur. Animal testing. Using their skin. Using them as entertainment in zoos and circuses. Like, you could write a dystopian novel on this. When I look into my society, as comfy as it may be for me, I see a dystopian nightmare for these animals. And that's what keeps my mouth moving. That's what always has my brain. I'm sorry, someone has their vehicle running in the background. That's what always keeps my brain thinking with every person I come across and looking for an opportunity to bring in veganism. How can I spread this message just a little bit further? Because eventually someone's gonna bite, or you're gonna be educating somebody with information that they didn't know. You're going to be contributing to the awakening of our society. Even if they seem like they're staunchly against it, and it feels like they just threw everything that you said back in your face. Like, whatever, bacon though. Bacon tastes good. The animals. Put yourself in the animal's position. Imagine if that were you. And you won't be afraid to speak.